Hi, so today we're going to be talking about valid arguments and fallacies. One thing to, at least in my opinion, I feel as though this unit and the unit that talks about inductive and deductive reasoning are the most tricky for me because they don't really follow a formula that you can plug in with numbers. You kind of have to interpret them a little bit, and sometimes it's hard to catch some things. So you might even see me get some of these things wrong. If I do, please correct me. But just know that it's kind of interpretive, and sometimes Hawks is really silly about what it accepts and such. And sometimes it's hard to tell, especially when you're looking at the different fallacies, which one might be which instead of the other. With that, I guess I'll get into it. I'll get to these example problems in just a moment. First, we probably want to talk about the the most common fallacies. So the first one that we'll be talking about, let me just get this really quick, is post hoc, ergo propter hoc. Ergo propter hoc. Whoops, I did a G instead of an H. And we probably want that to be like 1. And that basically stands for, well, after this, therefore, because of this. So what this basically means, well, like for an example, say that you, say something like, my uncle was upset because he said that his wallet had money in it before you went to get gum from it. This basically is implying that you stole his money, even though it doesn't necessarily mean that you were the one. You just got gum. You weren't there to steal money. You didn't steal money. He assumed you stole money because after you did something, the consequence, there was a consequence. And it doesn't mean that you necessarily caused it. Another example is like, I crossed black cat and then I had a heart attack. That sort of implies that the cat is the one that caused the heart attack, when that is not really true. So yeah, that's the first one. The second one is, hold on. Dicto simpliciter. Dicto simpliciter, which basically means hasty generalization. So it basically is, whoops, one sec. Let me add an end parenthesis to that. An example, well, it basically means that it's a quick decision that is made based on a few examples. So say, this hotel was just really awful. I didn't like this hotel at all, because the greeter at the front door didn't say hi to me or something like that. It's like, that doesn't mean the whole hotel is a problem. It just means that that one aspect was a problem. Hopefully that bit makes sense. The second fallacy, one sec. Third, sorry, is an ad hominem, which means personal attack. It's basically when you attack the person instead of the argument. So, something like, it's used a lot in political areas. So, something could be, you shouldn't be making legislation on smoking, on like cigarettes and smoking because you yourself are a cigarette smoker. Instead of, that's where you're like saying you shouldn't be saying this because you do this, rather than thinking about like the base argument that they're making, or something like this guy shouldn't be in charge of making decisions for our school board because he is divorced. Like stuff like that, where it's not talking about anything related to what is being addressed. It's just simply an attack trying to discredit the other person. The fourth one is Petitio Principle. One sec. Petitio Principle. Oh, not Principle. Principi. I don't know. Sorry, a lot of these are Latin, and it's kind of hard to pronounce a lot of times. But this basically means circular reasoning. So saying something is healthy because it's good for you, or you should follow what I say because I'm a good person, or something like that. Maybe not that one, but like, let me think of a better example. Basically, yeah, reading is good for you because it's good for you, like because it has good things, or stuff like that. I don't know. Basically, it makes an argument that assumes the premise. Oh, that was number 4. Hold on. Did I delete a different one? Yeah, I did. Hold on. Anyway. Three. And I don't really have very good ways of, for advice of memorizing, but this is something that you'll need to know for upcoming tests, if you're in the class that I mentor for. The fifth fallacy is called Non-Sequitur. Which basically means it does not follow. Where the premise does not follow the conclusion. Or the conclusion doesn't follow the premise, sorry. So something like, one sec. Yeah, the conclusion does not come from the premise. So let me think. Maybe, we should, get rid of animals because there's a lot of trash on the street. That's a really weird example, but like it's something where the premise and conclusion don't really connect very well. Hold on, let me copy this. I keep replacing each other. The sixth fallacy that we have is straw man, which is building up an exaggerated or distorted view of the opponent. Basically, it's where you're making a argument that's really easy to tear down for your opponent, so you can look better. And it's not what the opponent actually believes. So maybe something like this political opponent believes in eating babies, or something like that, when their position is not at all about eating babies. It just looks better to accuse them of that, or whatever. Like, or maybe for a better example, maybe like this person believes that it is okay to own slaves or something because they buy from unethically sourced clothing materials or something, where it's kind of taking what they believe and making it really exaggerated so they can tear it down. The seventh fallacy that we have is a false dilemma, which is black and white thinking, basically. Illusion of limited choice. So like you're either for us or against us. You're part of the solution or part of the problem, But a lot of things aren't black and white like that. The 8th fallacy is argumentum ad populum, which is an appeal to people. It's also, I think, referred to as the bandwagon fallacy, because it's sort of like 9 out of 10 doctors recommend this, so you should like this. Or everyone thinks that this is good, therefore you should think it's good. When it doesn't really say anything about the original claim itself, it's just saying that everyone else likes it, so you should like it too. Anyway, that covers the fallacies. We should also talk about 2 more terms, premises and conclusions. Premises are basically the beginning of an argument, what the argument is based on, basically. It doesn't have to be placed at the beginning of the text. It just is something that you are assuming in the beginning to build up to a conclusion. A conclusion is like the point that you're trying to make, basically. So if you were thinking about it in keywords, the premise would be like, if this, and the conclusion would be then this. If you think about it like in scientific terms, the premise would be the independent variable, and the conclusion would be the dependent. But it doesn't really fit that well. I don't know. Anyways, so with that in mind, let's look at these. So this one says, Taylor Swift's new single is the most popular song on the radio because it's played all of the time on the radio. We know that this is not a post hoc ergo propter hoc, because it doesn't really make a claim about this is why something happened, I guess. Dicto simpliciter doesn't really work either, because it's not like a quick generalization based on like a few things. Ad hominem, it's not attacking anyone, it's not attacking Taylor Swift, it's not attacking the audience. It might be Petitio Principle, because it's saying this is the most popular song because it's played all the time. Which sort of, it's played all the time, which makes it popular. Popularity is, it's not really a non-sequitur, because it's still like related. It's not a straw man because there's no exaggeration. It's not a false dilemma because there's no 2 choices. It might be an argumentum ad populum. However, it's not saying that you should listen to Taylor Swift's new single or anything like that. It's just saying that it is the most popular song on the radio because it's played on the radio. So I think that the correct answer for this would be Petitio Principle. The next one is asking us to identify the premise of the following argument. I couldn't bear you because you put so many heartless difficulties in my way, although you knew what a dangerous condition my husband was in. So, there's kind of 3 chunks. I think that the I couldn't bear you is one of them. We could maybe split this into 1 or 2. Because you put so many heartless difficulties in my way, although you knew what a dangerous condition my husband was in. I feel as though the premise could be, you knew what a dangerous condition my husband was in. However, that's not a single one. I think that you put so many heartless difficulties in my way, although you knew what a dangerous condition my husband was in. I think it would be this one. The I couldn't bear you, this is like the if or because you put this many heartless difficulties in my way, even though you knew this, then I couldn't bear you, basically. Even though those words aren't technically in there, you can kind of think about it from this causes this. The next problem, select all of the arguments that are invalid. We've gone over what invalid is in class, but just for a review, let me just pull up the exact definition. Valid arguments are deductive arguments where the conclusion is guaranteed by the premise. So, a very classical example of this is the all men are mortal. Socrates is a man, therefore Socrates is immoral. An invalid argument is a conclusion that is not always guaranteed by the premise. All men are mortal. Socrates is mortal, therefore Socrates is a man. This, they're kind of subtle differences, but we know that the second example is invalid because while it says all men are mortal, there are other things that are mortal as well. So Socrates might not technically, like he could be a squirrel, he could be a chipmunk, he could be a bird, he could be a dog. So it doesn't guarantee that he's a man. Keep in mind, though, arguments can be valid but not true. That's called sound. When something is sound, it means that a valid argument is used with a true premise. So an unsound argument would be all birds can. Sorry, 1 second. So this would be a valid argument, but an unsound argument. All organisms with wings can fly. Since penguins have wings, they must be able to fly. If we're assuming that the premise is true, that all organisms with wings can fly, then penguins who have wings should fly. However, we know in real life that doesn't actually work. Penguins cannot fly, even though they have wings. So it's a valid argument, but it's not a sound argument. So yeah, basically that is that. To go through examples, here is this. We're finding invalid arguments, and we're selecting all that apply. If we stay up too late, then we will be tired the next day. We are not tired today, so we must not have stayed up too late last night. So if we stay up too late, then we will be tired the next day. We are not tired today, so we must not have stayed up too late last night. This is a valid argument. A lot of times it's hard to parse these out, but the reason why it's valid is because assuming this premise that if we stay up too late, then we will be tired the next day. If we take this as true, if we're not tired, that means we did not stay up too late last night. So this is not the answer, not one of the answers. The second is, if you smoke, then you are increasing your chance of getting lung cancer. Matt is not increasing his chance of getting lung cancers, so he must not smoke. This is also a valid argument. It's saying if you smoke and you are increasing your chance of getting if you smoke, you are increasing your chance of getting lung cancer. Matt is not increasing his chance of getting lung cancer, so he must not smoke. If it was, to make it invalid, if it said something like, if you smoke, then you are increasing your chance of, 1 second, let me think of a way to phrase it actually. If you, let me think about that one for a little bit. Let's move on for a moment though. Sometimes it's hard to phrase them in the inverse, but we know that that is valid. C is, if you have your teeth cleaned by Dr. Floss, then your teeth will shine. Beth's teeth shine, so Dr. Floss must have cleaned her teeth. This one is invalid because if your teeth are cleaned by Dr. Floss, your teeth will shine. That doesn't mean if you get your teeth cleaned by someone else that your teeth won't shine. Beth's teeth can shine, even if she went to a different doctor. So coming back to B, for the example, it could be something like, if you smoke, then you are increasing your chance of getting lung cancer. Matt is increasing his chance of getting lung cancer, so he must smoke. This one doesn't really, that would make it invalid because Matt could be increasing his chance of getting lung cancer in a different way. Anyway, moving on to D. If Sue goes to the beach, then she will build a sandcastle. Sue is building a sandcastle, so she must be at the beach. This one is also invalid because she could be building a sandcastle in one of those little turtle sand bin things. She doesn't necessarily have to go to the beach to build a sandcastle. This one is asking us to select all of the arguments that are valid. All local college students are on winter break. Lei attends a women's college in the area, so she is on winter break. This is valid because we are saying that all local college students, which is Lei, she's attending a local college student. She's attending a local college. All of these students are on winter break. She's attending this college, so she is on winter break. This is valid. Everyone in the stadium is on their feet. Don is in the stadium, so he is on his feet. This is also valid because he is in the stadium. It says that everyone who is in the stadium is on their feet. So he should be on his feet as well. Again, I would like to emphasize that these could be valid, but it doesn't necessarily have to be sound or true. We are just assuming that what they're saying is correct. We're assuming we live in a world where what they're saying is correct. To see if something is valid or invalid. For D, everyone in Miss Easy's class was exempt from the exam. Kathy is in Miss Easy's class, so she was exempt from the exam. This is also valid because Kathy is part of everyone in Miss Easy's class because she is in Miss Easy's class. So she should be exempt from the exam. This next one is asking us to identify the conclusion of the following argument. Hopefully it will be cost efficient for the students because they'll be able to do it from home. So it looks like the premise is going to be because they'll be able to do it from home, because we're assuming if they are able to do it from home, then it will be cost effective for the students. So, because students will be able to do it from home, that is going to be our premise. The last question is determine whether the given argument uses inductive or deductive reasoning. If deductive, determine whether the reasoning is valid or invalid. It's saying if deductive because inductive arguments are not valid. All dogs have fur. All bears have fur. All animals must have fur. To me, this seems like it's a inductive reasoning example because we are taking two specific examples and we're going to general. Oh, oops. So we wouldn't need to worry about if it's deductive or invalid or deductive invalid. We're just thinking it's inductive because it's going from specific to general. Hopefully that covered it for the most part. I know this video got kind of long, like 24 minutes almost. But if you have any questions, please just let me know and I'll answer them as soon as possible. See ya!